Hello everyone and welcome to my first Let's Play ever. This is also my first video edit, so if you have any tips and tricks, please let me know. The game I'll be playing is Rimworld. I still consider myself a noob. I have like 40 hours into it, I guess. I've played the traditional starts a couple of times now, and I think it's time to do something a little bit harder. I've never played with Randy Randoms before, so I'm choosing him to be my storyteller. And I've made a custom Naked Brutality start. So for the place that we actually start a colony, I've chosen to use the first Boreal forest we come across. So I'll be clicking the random site until we have a Boreal forest. Looks like this is our starting position. Don't totally agree with it. I would like something more near the road. So I've chosen this spot. This is quite close to the random site, but a little bit closer to the road as well. We're now going to create our first colonist. Our first colonist is going to be a mad doctor, and she has done some strange things, strange experiments on the spaceship. The other survivors found out and they decided to ban her to the nearby planet. Because of her backstory, she has some medical and intellectual skills and also some plant skills to create the herbal medicine. We see that in her childhood, she was actually a child prodigy. She was quite smart, already knew some medical stuff, and later on she used that to become a prosthetic surgeon. Because of this job, she actually found out she likes experimenting on people, and the fellow survivors didn't really agree with her on that. So now we're going to see where she's going to end up on the planet. Okay, so this is where our story begins. We just landed on a planet. I'll pause immediately and take a look at our surroundings. What I would like is a decent patch of fertile soil. But as we can see, we don't have a lot of choice. There are some patches on the edge of the map, but that doesn't really interest me because it's just way too dangerous to be that close to the edge of the map. Over here it looks like an ancient danger, also really close to the edge of the map. So I'm guessing we'll just stay near our starting position and make a start over here. First we're going to deconstruct this ruin. It'll give us some steel, and with the steel we can start our own base. Mark it as deconstruction. And we'll make a small stockpile over here, so Doc can haul the steel towards this place. So at the moment we allow everything but put the priority to low. This is just a basic stockpile we start out with first. We also see some berries over here. I'll mark some of them for harvest, so we have some food to start with. So while Doc is busy with the deconstruction, then we can check out if we can find some heal root. Probably get to use that somewhat near the future. As you can see, there's plenty to find. I'll let them grow for a while. I don't know if it's a big effect to let it grow till 100% or not. At the moment we don't need it, but it's close by. After a few trips back and forth, Doc managed to get everything in the stockpile. So now we lay out the foundation of the base. Start out with just a small section. We need a place to sleep, a place to save our stuff, a place to craft, and because it's now fall and winter is coming, we actually need the place to stay warm, so we need an enclosed place indoors. Then we can start a campfire later on. I also marked some trees for harvesting. We need wood for the doors, we need wood for torchlights, campfire, stuff like that. We also want to craft a bow. It's one of our first weapons we're going to use. Choosing the bow so we can stay at a distance. Hope we can use that to our advantage. There are 3 pieces that stick out a bit in the base. I marked them for mining. Doc's mining skill is really, really low. I think it's even 0. So it's probably going to take some while. We have our crafting place for the bow. We have our butcher place if we happen to come across some meat. And we have our sleeping spot, so I think we're set for the day. While Doc is watching some clouds, we'll give her some orders to haul the remaining wood inside. I'll probably come into use later. So at the moment she started with our bow. It's going to be our first weapon. And after she finishes that, it's time for a quick meal and then off to bed. With the first bits mined out, we can increase the stockpile a little bit. And with Doc fast asleep, we can check some settings. One thing I noticed is we might have a second ancient danger over here. I never had 2 ancient dangers on one map, but I think this might be it. Here in the work tab, we'll put some priorities. Firefighting, patient, doctor, bed rest, and rearming. I usually put to 1. Rearming at the moment, however, is not really useful. We don't have any traps yet. I can rearm the traps, by the way, because I use a mod called beta traps. I've seen them in Beat Completes. I think it's the Ice Sheet challenge. And I really like the mechanic of that, so I added it in. Same as with some other mods like the wall lights and the realistic rooms. And as you've seen at the start, I'm also using the prepare carefully mod to fully customize my starting character. So another mod I'm using is the Cannibal Meals mod. So if we look at the Assign tab, then we can assign certain restrictions to people. And with the food restrictions, we can actually make 2 kinds of restrictions. One for a cannibal diet and one for a non-cannibal diet. And on both restrictions, I won't allow packaged meals because I want to save those for the trips. For the rest, it makes sense. Cannibal meals are allowed to eat meals with human flesh, and the non-cannibal meals are not allowed to eat the meals with the human flesh. There are also a lot of default settings, and I'm going to remove all of them, so I just have the cannibal and the non-cannibal diet. So So to set up the non-cannibal diet, we'll remove everything that has the word cannibal in it, and we'll also remove the corpses. Obviously, none of the diets are allowed to eat rotten stuff. It'll probably not go that well. We also have the drug policies. I usually use sort of a basic health program. As we don't have most stuff yet, I'll just allow the smoke joints, and for the rest we don't allow anything, and the joints are only smoked like once every 2 days to prevent addictions. Over here we're going to remove all the default settings as well, except the no drugs, which could be useful. Next to the food and drug restrictions, we're also going to restrict the medicine. At the moment we don't have any. We'll just put it to doctor, but no medicine used. And we need to also turn on the self-tending, because she's alone and she can only tend to herself. So while she's sleeping, we'll also put up the home area. I turned off the automated home area. Usually I think it's too big. The home area is the space where stuff gets cleaned and where fires get put out. And at the moment it should be as small as possible. We don't want our colonists to do too much stuff. I'm also creating an area which is not my home area, which is basically the home area but then inverted. If we get any animals, then we can make sure they don't get into our base. As you can see, you mark your area that you want to stay clear, and then you invert it. So the purple area is the home area, and the yellow area is the not my home area. Just make sure nobody gets into the base, or at least not the animals. As you can see, as Doc woke up, she started doing the mining again. This is actually her last thing to do. At the moment we can see she's idle. We do not prefer our colonists to be idle. She should be doing something useful, even if it's just recreation. So I'll zone this to cut some plants. This will give us some open space for expansion later on, and it'll give us some extra wood. Next to that, I'm gonna put a space which you can also mine, and we can put the research bench there. Because when a colonist is idle, then it's always a good plan to do some research. After all, we do want to advance in techniques and technology. After a night of mining and some sleep, Doc is now busy with mining out the last bits. Every now and then I scan the surroundings. There are a lot of predators on the map, and sometimes they leave the animals they've taken down. They can't finish them in one meal, and they leave the cadaver to rot or maybe eat later. This is always a good opportunity to try and steal it and hope the work doesn't get revenge on us. As you can see, we now have a yak. It'll decompose in 2.4 days, so we can keep it for a while. But since we do not have a lot of berries, we'll best be slaughtering it now. It'll give us some meat, it'll give us some leather, Maybe we can make some clothing later on because we're still naked. And I've noticed in our stockpile we have some stuff that can actually just stay outside. It won't deteriorate. This is the steel and the stones. We'll start out with the complex furniture. This will give us an opportunity to actually build a bed for Doc, and this will negate the slept on the floor debuff, and will actually get us some comfort. So the mood, Doc's mood, should be a lot better overall. We also see it's quite chilly, so we put down a campfire. This will heat up the room probably too much, but overall it's just better to have a little bit more warmth and no hypothermia and a few debuffs. So while Doc is researching the furniture, we are probably going to need some wood. So I'll mark these trees for deconstruction. We can chop it down and we can get the wood in our stockpile. And we can hopefully make our first furniture quite soon. Over here I saw another prey left over. So we now have a fox as well, Arctic fox I think. And yeah, we can use that for food as well. So we'll chop that up in the near future. So at the moment Doc is finishing the last research. Should be the final bits right now. And we also saw our intelligence go up with 1 point. Next research will be stone cutting. We have a lot of chunks lying around and we could use that to actually extend our bases and to build some walls. The chunks over here mostly are granite, which is the hardest stone around, which will do just fine for our base. Somewhat down over here, there's also a bit of leftover steel base. We'll deconstruct this so we can use the steel later on. While Doc is busy with deconstruction, we can do our first expansion of the base. Since temperature is going down and it's almost winter, I'm gonna make a freezer. However, because we started as a tribe, we don't have any electricity yet, and we also don't have any option for air conditioning. However, our main room is heated, and because we now have complex furniture, we can install a vent, which will go and get the outside air in. So this room will actually be our freezer, which will have the same temperature as the outside. This basically means during the winter this freezer will be below 0 degrees, which is good for the meat and good to preserve stuff, and the main room will be heated because of the campfire. Over here we'll mark some herbal medicine for harvesting. So we have some extra. And we can also see we have our first event, which is a visitor. They also have stuff to trade, so maybe you can sell the leather and maybe buy some clothes. Let's check out what they have. I'm gonna trade with llama. So yeah, they don't have anything exciting. We don't have any silver, so we can't buy anything. The only thing we can sell is our medicine, which we won't. We don't have a lot. So yeah, it's basically nothing happening. one thing we do need is food. So we're gonna try and get this ibex dough. Hope it won't get in revenge mode. Yeah, we need to survive. We need food. We ran out of berries. We ran out of the other meat. So we need something. Plus, it's good target practice. Dog is not that good at shooting it just yet. As you can see, dog got it down. We're gonna slaughter it straight away, and then dog will probably eat something and go to sleep. And at this moment, we almost finished our first week in the Boreal forest. And with that, we're gonna wrap up this episode. I think this is a sort of a pilot episode. I hope you guys liked it. And if you want to see more, please put it down in the comments. At the moment, we've researched the stone cutting and the complex furniture, and we're gonna probably do electricity next. But that's something for the next episode. Thank you everyone for watching, and see you the next time.